one thing. And inviting yourself to slow down as soul care practice of yoga invites us to do. And sensing the ground holding all of us far and near. And allowing yourself to check in and feel for giving weight over to our home, the earth. And letting the therapeutic aspect of gravity help you to ground. We'll focus in on honing in on the breath as our pathway in. So if you like, you could listen in for the sound of the breath. And then inviting in a kinesthetic experience of feeling all the way through the 4 parts of the breath, the inhale, the pause at the top, the exhale, and then the pause at the bottom of the breath. And that is the invitation to work with this morning, is this practice of listening. And one of the things that slowing down allows us to do is to choose, and often we use the term making a warrior's choice of choosing where we put our attention to listen. With so much, what the yogic term would be vrittis, these disruptive waves, for very good reasons, can create a lot of vrittis in our nervous system. And my hope for myself, and that I'll offer for everyone, is to see where we could find some stillness so that we can keep living into and from our wiser self, making choices from a learning and healing place rather than from a stress response. And so the invitation to you is to allow yourself to relax the neck, relax the throat, and we'll work with what's called, I was taught this, called the yoni breath from a teacher named Grumai. And just like it sounds, making the shape of a yawn. And if there's a real yawn that bubbles up and out, awesome, go for it. seeing how we can invite the yawny breath in service of soul care and lifting. And then if there's sound or any other faces, you could sort of let it become a theater-like activity, like a theater warm-up of really getting into sensing the jaw, sensing the palate, sensing the relationship to the inner and the outer ear, and just letting yourself experience the vestibular system as the hearing opens up, letting yourself orient to your space as well as your inner being. Noticing whatever degree that's available, letting that be enough. Almost like you're gonna, or you could let yourself drool, almost like you're gonna let yourself drool or let yourself drool, letting the jaw go. And then shifting to a seed syllable. So this comes from a body of work called somatic experiencing, which I've been a client of. I'm not a trained provider of, but nonetheless, I'll offer us this tool of the seed syllable VAM. And you can let it come up from below the navel space and use it to see how you can connect the belly to the work we're doing with the jaw. So at your own pace, playing with VAM, V-A-M. VAM. And that organically comes to a pause, sensing the relationship between jaw and pelvis, between palate and gut, the above the diaphragm and the below. Letting those two parts listen and be in communication with each other. And just sensing any amount more that you can create fluid, respectful communication between parts. Then we'll head into a series that we often do of working with eyes and neck. So you can stay laying down or seated. Lisa's got it going. Starting with some friction. And then taking that healing warmth and placing it near your face or on your face. And shifting perhaps to a few places. So what we've been also working with is what is the vagus nerve, so the cranial nerve that is sometimes referred to as the soul nerve, which connects the brain to the gut. And there's a lot of the vagal tone exists in the face. So just letting yourself sense the enervation of your face and the expression of your nervous system into your face right now. Listening to your own body's cues. And then as you're ready, you can either keep your hands on your face or let them go and begin to just take a gentle look around. So blinking in a way that allows you to orient to your environment and sense if you can let the belly energy come up and out through the eyes. And notice if there's any ocular blocking, so sort of shielding that many of us do to protect from traumatic experiences. Often you'll see a baby that has really sparkling eyes if they've gotten what they need, and shielded eyes if they don't, and just sensing what you can learn about your own eyes here and how that relates to any other information in your brain, in your neck, and your face. And we'll take this in a more of a free form way than we often do. You can let the eyes settle to one thing and begin to see where you feel drawn to move your eyes. So it could be circles, as we often do. It could be at diagonals. Let the breath lead, let the eyes follow. And if there are more sounds or releases from the jaw, that's super welcome. And then we will do a more focused approach here. So letting your eyes settle, looking all the way up, circling down to the right, and then back up to the left. Doing that a few times. Noticing if there are places you want to skip over, sticky spots, open spots. And when you're ready, close eyes. Take a very full breath in, feel for your eyes, pause for your degree of comfort with your breath, and like you're popping a balloon, exhale through the mouth. And then we'll take that to the opposite direction, looking all the way up, down to the left, back up to the right. Sensing this practice of listening and trusting your body, trusting your soul. And then when you're ready, taking a full breath in, pause for your degree of comfort. Exhale everything out through the mouth. And then we'll do some diagonals here. So looking to the upper right and then lower left, upper right, lower left, going back and forth. Sense the stimulation of the eyes and any information you can get about the brain here. How is your brain? Close eyes, take a very full breath into your brain, a loving breath, pause, and then exhale everything out. And we'll take that in the opposite direction, upper left, lower right, upper left, lower right. And then pause, soften the eyes, soften internally and fill all the way up with breath. Pause for your comfort level, and then exhale out through the mouth. And then from here, let's work into some shoulder shrugs. Starting with up and down, sensing the movement of the ball and socket joint, the shoulder blade, the collarbones. And then adding in the shoulder blade squeeze, shoulders up, squeeze top tips of shoulder blades and then drag down, focusing on middle shoulder blades, squeezing and dragging down, and then perhaps bending the elbows to help you find bottom tips of shoulder blades, dragging down. And then continuing along, seeing where you feel drawn into the back of your heart, listening into back of heart chakra, this place of self-love. And then from here, let's come into sweeping the arms up. And then just taking any movements here that give you some information about your intercostal muscles, coming into the side body, active hands. And then giving yourself a hug, starting with opening through the pectorals, and then let's do right arm over, left arm under, and then just sensing again the back of heart, sending elbow tips forward, perhaps tucking the chin. Waiting for your soul in the pose. Making that distinction of yoga where you're inviting all of you to the table. And then unfurling, finding that opening back up. Let's take another moment, coming into some lateral awareness, lateral opening. Opening into chest open, and then switching the whichever side you didn't do yet, sensing if you can get a hold of the shoulder blades. And then pausing, finding any amount of stillness, letting whatever access you have to stillness be enough. Just like putting out a call to a beloved, putting out a call to yourself and your own heart and your own goodness. And then from there, unfurling, reaching out, taking one more improvised side bend, maybe holding elbows. Feel for softening the intercostal muscles and then stretching them open. And then from here, let's begin the seated sequence. You can come to a seat. And let's come into either knee pile or half knee pile. So if you're taking knee pile, you can stack right thigh on top of left. And if it works better, you can extend out through the left leg, whatever helps you to get into the hips without stressing any of the joints. So once you have your spot, go ahead and do that. And from there, we'll come into, I forgot my strap, so I'm just gonna do half arch your arms. I'm gonna do taking my right hand behind back of heart and then hold on to my elbow. If you have your strap, you could do arch your arms with both hands or hold on to clothing. And then again, this above and below listening and dialogue. How do the shoulders speak to the hips and vice versa? How does the heart speak to the gut and vice versa? So we're building bridges between parts. unwinding, taking any moves in between sides to integrate. And then either half knee pile or knee pile on the other side. Right leg could be extended forward or tucked in. And then either have arch your arm, hand behind the head or upper back, and you can use the opposite hand to help stabilize and stretch the shoulder, or coming into arch your arms. And then come back again and again to this practice of, as Martha so beautifully reminded us of, whatever amount of unshielding and opening up you have, not fighting with the debris that's available, celebrating what you can do, so that you're running the energy of success through your practice, through your tissues. And then unraveling, coming into Dandasana sat pose. Let's do a little bit of unlocking the shoulders. So elbows can come up right to shoulder height, stretching hands and feet. And again, feel free to sit up on a prop if it helps you to stabilize the hips. Taking a deep breath in here. On exhale, shoulders down, shoulder blades down, elbows move slightly forward, hands active. And then take this listening approach. And then softening down. And then from here, let's go ahead and come into a seated side bend. So extending out through the right leg and holding on to the thigh, doing some body work here, seeing if you can get a sense of sort of making space, waking up your awareness of the power of your leg, this relationship of spaciousness in the hip and space in the low back, letting the leg be a lever into the power of the core. And then from there, stretching across the chest, in the rib cage, keeping the space, coming into your side bend, holding on, gripping onto the ground a little bit to wake up the shoulder and the armpit, shoulder and shoulder blade down. And then just feel, if you have a wall behind you, you could lean up against a wall so you're sensing into true lateral flexion without closing the chest. Wrapping the shoulder blade, pinky finger could spin in. Plugging your sit bones into earth energy, feeling your bones heavy. And then from there, flipping the palm, let's do some work with the neck. You can hover the hand right there. You can have it on a block, or you can place the hand behind the back. Inhale, lengthen through the core, and then take the ear to the shoulder. And get really curious about feeling inner ear, outer ear, jaw, throat. And then from there, go ahead and look down and tuck the chin back. Your neck is really tight. You can give your head, hold your head so you're titrating the amount of pressure in the stretch. And knowing you can do that in many, many ways. Always keeping yourself in your window, which is definitely a listening practice. Moving the jaw a little bit here, and then cradling your head, putting your head back up. And we'll take that to the other side. So switching, grabbing onto the left thigh, massaging the thigh, getting into the hip a bit. Actively reaching through the heel, waking up the foot, both sit bones grounded, stretch across the front of the chest. Telescope the ribs. And then keep that space, sensing your spine coming into a C curve. Grab onto the ground a little bit to wake up your shoulder girdle again and again. And then just sensing how many of these moves are scaffolded in many poses and how benevolent that is, rather than trying to get deep in one moment, giving yourself a decade or more. Leaning back. And then from there, let's come into the neck, flipping the palm, sensing the air, moving around your limb, hovering the hand, taking the left ear to the left shoulder. And then from there, looking down, tucking the chin back, sensing the suboccipital muscles, which are part of what moves the eyes. So a lot of our zooming these days, the eye muscles and the movers get overused, so softening the eyes. And again, feel free to massage the forehead, cradle the head. And then put your head back up. Let's come into Baddha Konasana, feet together, knees wide. Let's take a twist in Baddha Konasana to start here. Pressing the inner edges of the feet together, fanning through the toes, and then taking the right hand back behind. You can either keep the hand on the same leg or cross over, and again, rooting down to rise up. So that's often a really sustainable way to twist, is rather than trying to yank yourself up, pressing down, and there's that ground force action that helps you to rise up in a more fluid way. You can either keep looking over to the right or keep the chin right over the sternum. Maybe do a little bit of looking each way. And then let's take it to the other side. Come back to center, telescope ribs. Sense the space between top crest of hip and low ribs. And then take your twist to the other side. Shoulders down, sitting down to get tall. Sensing where is my crown in space. Am I opening to that above space of guidance and below space of home? And then from there, come on back to center. We're gonna come into deer pose with chest opener. Pour the weight onto the right hip, and then you can tuck the heel back by the sit bone. If this doesn't feel good in your hip, you can stay in Baddha Konasana. And then from there, same thing, shoulder and shoulder blade down, reach up on a 45-degree angle, then come back so you can feel for something. A lot of times it'll show up in the shoulder before you get into the pecs, but something there. And you could look up. If that's too much on the neck, just find looking forward or perhaps looking down. Stretching it away so your prana, the pranavayu channel of the primary channel where we get prana right in through the heart and lungs, and then pushing the prana through active hand, reaching dynamically. And then from here, bring the arm back, reaching down, feel the air moving around the body. Telescope ribs turn towards the right knee and then fold. You can grab a block for your head. And sensing how this is a very early pigeon. Press the ground away with the outer right leg to keep that orientation of external rotation. And again, bringing yourself back up, sensing the energetic imprint of forward bending can be really a listening quality, internal listening quality. Come back up to Baddha Konasana. Pour the weight onto the left side, tuck the heel back, and we'll come into that shoulder and shoulder blade down, reach up on a diagonal, inhale, exhale, arm comes back, feel into shoulder, bicep line, heart and lung meridian. Looking up if that's okay for your neck, letting that quality of the expansiveness of above come into heart, into mind. And then bring the arm back, reaching down, lifting up through the ribs, turning towards the knee, and then folding. And then come on up. Let's go on down to the back. Let's come into some core work. But first, come into planting your feet, giving weight over, continuing to connect to earth energy and the therapeutic aspect of gravity. And then checking in what's going on in your kidney area, back, bottom, ribs. Listening to that area. And then from here, interlacing your hands in your non-ritual way behind the base of the skull bones, shoulders down, elbow tips reach up. And then from here, you can either keep the feet down if your back needs more support or pick both feet up off the floor. Head and chest comes up. Inhale, broadening across back, bottom, ribs. Curl the tailbone up, so if your feet are lifted, knees reach straight up. And then on exhale, both elbows reach to the right, straightening through the left leg. If both feet are down, pick the left foot up, keep the knee bent, knees overhead. Inhale, bend both knees. Curl the tailbone so the knees are reaching straight up to the ceiling. And then on exhale, both elbows reach to the left, straightening the right leg, either 45 degrees to the ground. If your back needs more support, you can do it straight up. Inhale to center. Curl the tailbone up. On exhale, both elbows reach right, straighten through left leg. Lots of options here. Straight up or 45, belly in. Inhale to center. Curl the tailbone up. On exhale, both elbows reach left, straighten through right leg. Pull the low belly down. Inhale, come back through center. Curl the tailbone up. On exhale, both elbows reach right, straighten through the left leg. Low belly toes in. Let's come through one more round. Inhale to center. Curl tailbone. Exhale, elbows reach left, straighten through right leg. Low belly pulls in. Inhale to center. Curl tailbone. Exhale, elbows reach right, straighten through left leg. Low belly pulls in. Head and chest comes down. Come back to center. Take a moment, relaxing belly muscle. And then from here, we'll come into some elbow to tree. So knees can come up over hips. Again, head and chest comes up, relax. And again, you can be adapted to feet down. You can just place the foot to the inner leg while the foot is down. Inhale, broaden back ribs. Curl the tailbone up. On exhale, both elbows reach to the right, straighten left leg, belly in. Phase two, placing the foot to the inner thigh or the calf. Curl up a second time, pull the low belly down. Inhale, bend both knees. Curl the tailbone up, and then on exhale, both elbows reach left. Straighten through the right leg. Move the thigh bone away from the hip. Low belly pulls in. Phase two, tree pose. Foot is above or below the knee. Press. Curl up a second time. Pull the low belly down. Inhale, bend both knees. Curl tailbone up. Exhale, elbows reach right. Straighten through left leg. Low belly pulls down. Foot to inner leg. Curl up a second time. Pull the low belly in. And then last time here for this one, inhale. Curl tailbone. Elbows reach left, straighten through right leg. Low belly pulls in. Foot to inner leg, press. Curl up a second time. Pull the low belly down. And then come on back to center. Head and chest come down. And then take a listening breath. Seeing if that helps you to hear the wisdom of your gut any amount more. And then from here, let's come into bridge. Feet underneath knees, outer edges of the feet parallel, arms by the torso, finding the most friendly position for your neck, soft neck. Inhale, broadening back ribs across the floor, and then exhale, press the ground away, lift the hips up, send the thigh bones forward. And then just feeling the sensations that arise as you're in Setu Bandhasana, your bridge, feeling the power in the glutes, the legs, the sensations that wake up. And then we'll come into a round of Uddiyana to come out of bridge pose. So relaxing internally first. You can place your hands to your side ribs. Fill all the way up, expanding the ribs, pause at the top, and then exhale everything out. When you're empty, keep the breath out, belly back, lower down out of your pose. Relax the belly, take an inhale. And then take any movements here that feel good, that feel useful. Windshield wiper the legs, stretch the legs, take a full body stretch perhaps. And then find your way back up to tabletop, or find your way to tabletop, keeping the neck relaxed. And then begin to sense into letting the breath lead and the body follow. The torso, all the sides of the torso. How do the shoulders and the hips connect into the torso? And let's do some alternate limb extensions with some core work. So we'll do it more fluidly, less of a hold than we often do. So reaching right arm forward and left leg back, and then furling in elbow to knee. Doing a few of these, sensing the connection between limbs and core, between shoulder and hip. And then similarly, taking it a little bit outside of the lines here, taking your limbs out and then experimenting with, as the limbs get further away from torso, how does that change the challenge? Taking any other movements here, bending the knee, taking the hip into half frog as you're working with the arm. And then come back, find stillness in your table. Feeling that continuum of flow and stillness. And let's take it to the other side. Take the right leg back, kick. Wake up your glutes, wake up the whole power in the leg. Left arm forward, thumb to the ceiling, sensing the architecture, targeting the shoulder and the supporting muscles of the shoulder girdle, and then furling in. Front ribs melt towards back ribs. And then again, taking the limbs further out from the torso, noticing how that changes the shape, and then playing around here, opening the hip. And then finding extension, come back to table, find a listening stillness. I'm gonna come into turbo dog with the option of turbo puppy. So hands come forward, hands with distance, slight bend at the elbow, slight, not like we often do towards the ground. So it's slight, elbows hug in, shoulders away from ears. Keep that, if it works for your shoulders, curl the toes under, you can keep the knees very bent, and begin to come any amount towards down dog. Knees can stay down. Micro bending the elbows, hugging in. Keep the inner hands really rooted. And then from there, if they're not down already, placing the knees down, take a moment. We're gonna come right into lunge here. So left leg comes forward, get any amount more padding or your blocks or props that can bring the floor up to you. And getting a sense of where your hip is willing to go in your lunge without forcing, right? And then coming into optimal pelvic stability, front hip point and back hip point aligned. And then sweeping up, lift the ribs, pinky finger spin and rack shoulder blades. Look up if that's okay for your neck. And then let's come into a twist. Bring the hands through Pressing, spreading through the bones in the wrists, coming forward. Some options here, either plant the right hand down, left arm up, or you can hook the elbow outside the thigh. And then continue to sense the twist and what it has to offer you in terms of experience, in terms of listening. Can you get your, this is my question for myself, can I get my thoracic spine out of fight or flight response? Can I unfurl my upper back? Unwind your twist, and then from there, let's go ahead and calm down onto the belly for some small back bends. Make one line with your torso and your thighs, knees down, belly strong. Press the ground away, elbows in. Lift each leg, lengthen the thigh bone away from the hip. Roll the inner thigh to the ceiling. And then from here, press both hands into the ground, press both feet into the ground. Lift up, right leg lifts, left arm lifts. Reaching in both directions, and then switch. Left leg lifts, right arm lifts, wrap the right shoulder blade, thumb to the ceiling. And then one more time on each side. Right leg lifts, left arm. Curl pubic bone, using your upper back, and then switch. Lift the left leg, right arm forward, thumb to the ceiling. And release. Let's come into some cobra push-ups. So hands on your shoulders, legs solid. So just like it sounds, pull hands towards feet. You could let it be tiny. Lower down, reach the heart forward. Do about 3 more at your own pace. And then from here, take a moment in your crocodile. Either stack your hands and place your head on your hands, or turn your head to one side. Feel your belly connected to the earth. If you like, imagining a grounding cord from just below your navel into the earth, deep into the earth. And then from there, hands on your shoulders, shoulders away from the ears, press back. And from your table, we'll come back into turbo dog. So hands come forward, micro bend in the elbows, bicep is facing forward, eye of the elbow. You can stay right here, or you can curl the toes under and lift the hips. You can also just come into a regular down dog. Either way, keep the inner hands grounded. And then from there, we'll come into lunge. So whichever side you didn't do yet, scoot that puppy forward. You can take a few breaths, just playing around, seeing what happens as you listen into that other hip. And then coming into optimal pelvic alignment, finding the front crest of the pelvis and the back crest of the pelvis as even as you can. Press the ground away, lift the ribs. Perhaps you look up, wrap shoulder blades. Press into the front heel and the top of the back foot. And then from there, press, coming into this home base press. Bring yourself into the midline. Wake yourself up. And then come forward. Either elbow outside the thigh, you could make a fist and blanket it, or prayer hands, or open your arms. Either way, sensing your spine in axial rotation. Noticing if that hip wings out, tucking it back, keeping the hip stable, contracting the left glutes to help with that. Lengthen through the spine, and then using the exhale rather than pushing to see what is available. So you keep yourself out of a stress response in a learning mode. And then go ahead and unwind your twist. Let's come on back down to the belly for some shoulder shrugs in both. So knees up or knees down, finding a high quality, smooth transition. Reach back through the legs, and then lift the legs, lift the shoulders, lift the chest.
Inhale, broaden upper back. Exhale, squeeze shoulders, shoulder blades, and elbow tips. Inhale, broaden upper back. Exhale, squeeze shoulders, shoulder blades, and elbow tips. Inhale, broaden upper back, reach through the legs. Exhale, squeeze shoulders, shoulder blades, and elbow tips as you're reaching strongly through the legs. And then go ahead and release. And then feel for uptaking that zip of energy that you get from these baby back bends right into a place where you could use a zip. And then also use the let go quality of belly to the earth into a place where you could use belly to the earth energy. And then from there, hands under shoulders, come back for your table. Let's press back into down dog. Come into three-legged dog. So keep the hands super grounded. Press the ground away. Feel the response into your tissues. And then with a lot of focus, lift the right leg. Use your glutes. Use the kick through the leg. Bend the knee. And then take some circles with the hip. Experimenting with any kind of extension. Maybe tapping the toe down in a few places. Maybe you do a knee to nose. And then take that to the other side with a lot of focus. Extend the left leg, bend the knee, circling, circling, circling. Tapping the foot down. And then from here, find your way to Uttanasana, forward bend, feet solidly rooted. Hands can be on blocks or interlaced behind the neck. Finding what we call Pada Bandha in yoga, so the threshold of the foot to earth energy. So you're using some effort, but you're allowing your energy to flow and give and receive with the earth. Listening into the earth with your feet so that we can all learn to walk in correct relationship with the land we inhabit. Thumbs press into the hip crease, engage the low abs, either rolling up or coming up with a flat back. See what feels better. We'll come into, I'm going to coach us through Agnisara and Horse. Feel free to stay with easy, smooth breathing if it's too activating for you. So toes point out to about 45. First of all, you can step wide. General rule of thumb is ankles under wrists. And then pivot the feet out, bend the knees, and you can choose how juicy you want to make the angle of the legs to create some heat. And then as if you were still laying on the ground, check out your back bottom ribs. I'm a kinesthetic learner, so I'm always using my touch to help myself find out where I am. And it might help you calm down. It just helped me to calm down and touch my back ribs. Good to know. And from here, let's pull up through the midline, big breath in. Exhale everything out. Keep the breath out, pumping the belly a few times like a massage. Relax belly, inhale, hands to heart center. Exhale, press forward. Keep the breath out, pulling back and letting go. Relax belly, inhale, hands to heart. Exhale, press. Keeping breath, pulling back and letting go. Relax belly, inhale to center. Exhale, press down. Breath stays out, pulling back and letting go. Relax belly, inhale. Straighten the legs and then pause in your five-pointed star. Looking up if that's okay for your neck. And then let the breath breathe you as much as is possible. So we're beginning to shift from all this creating support to receiving the support you've created. Go ahead and rebend the knees, pulling earth energy up. Come back through five-pointed star, let the arms float down. Using this in a way that helps you begin to wind down towards Shavasana. And then when you're ready, legs are straight, arms can come down, pivot the toes facing forward, and then find yourself in a wide-legged forward bend. And then walking the hands over to one side, taking any variations here. You can keep it as a full side bend or maybe make it a bit of a twist. Taking it to the other side. When you're ready, come back to center. Activate your legs, either rolling up or coming up through a flat back. Heel toe the feet back together and take a few breaths in your mountain pose. And just sensing the work that you've done to be able to be a vertical axis of listening to your soul. And then finding your way onto your back. Either coming right into your Shavasana or taking a finishing action or set of actions, perhaps happy baby, child's pose, or happy baby, or hugging knees to chest, or child's pose. And then letting yourself find your Shavasana. Letting this deep soul body listening take over as you rest. Beginning to hone in on the way the breath touches the inner environment and the information that's there when we listen deeply. Making a commitment to keep this dialogue going today. Thanking yourself for this soul care. Taking all the time you need to come onto one side. Feeling the physical transition of pressing into your home to rise up towards the sky.
Finding your sit bones, sensing the triangle of space made between the sit bones and the tailbone to connect to earth energy, and then planting those down to spring up toward the above, relaxing the skull bones to take in all of the awareness of the blessings above and around, including this horizontal circle of beloved community and all that we've built together and continue to nurture, and bringing the hands to touch if you like. And let's close with one round of Brahmari. So taking a inhale and creating a humming, buzzing of any pitch on exhale. This practice is complete. Thank you. So good to share space with you all.
Thank you, Karuna.
Hi,
Karuna. Thank you, Karuna. Thank you.